If you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier iHypnosis life healer coach and your personal guide. Today we are opening up the portals to something really, really important, and something I want to point out is that maybe you've missed something all along, especially as a healer, especially as a coach. And this, of course, is everything to do with being able to listen, or let's say it like this, being able to see with your ears. Now, I'm obviously being a little cryptic simply because for the longest time, we've been told that when we talk about visualization, it is about being able to see the future, is about being able to create those scenes in the future, things that we aspire for, aspire to, and when you're able to see it, you're able to experience it. Now, on the surface, that's a great thought, but very often this can be one of the most frustrating things that you can come across. And I want to share with you three observations that I've made, simply because for the longest time I used to wonder if there was something wrong with me. Reason being, of course, that it was very, very hard for me to be able to visualize. By that I mean to be able to actually see things in the future. And recently I came to know that there is this thing called aphantasia, which is one way of explaining that some of us are not really able to see anything when we close our eyes and we picture or imagine the future. They also say, and maybe that'll be the subject for another pod, which is some of us do not have an internal dialogue. But for today, let's just focus on one part, which is everything to do with, even if you cannot see, um, there is something equally, if not more powerful, that is awaiting you. And so, three things I want to share with you. One is that your voice matters. Now, if you've been someone who has been struggling to visualize, struggling to see, think about it like this. What if you actually started to pay attention to your voice? You started to pay attention to what it is that you're hearing on the inside. Very often, when we meditate, when we visualize, and I'm sure you've attended many programs, especially as a healer, a coach, or even a seeker for that matter, when you've showed up to these programs, and when you are told to meditate, that can probably be one of the most frustrating experiences, because when you meditate, when you visualize, you're not able to see anything. And somewhere maybe there's a part of you that says, okay, let me create something because I'm supposed to see something in the future. And this brings me to the second part, which is that when you realize that your voice matters, this is where you'll start to experience a shift. Because when you actually practice stillness and just listen to what it is that you can hear on the inside, that is your internal system creating those visual pictures. The only difference is that instead of it being visuals, you're actually starting to hear your pictures. And very often it can be unsettling. Very often it can feel like, okay, maybe you're making it up, maybe you're cheating, and that this is not real, right? You're making stuff up. But the truth is that when you think about your, let's do a simple little exercise now. When you think about your future, and let's say you're not able to see what that visual or what that vision looks like, if you just sit in stillness and you be present, even as I'm speaking to you right now, there's a very high probability that you'll start to tell yourself, you'll start to hear that internal or that inner voice starting to fill in the space. And very often, when you start to actually be present to that stillness, you'll start to actually hear your future being played out. And this brings me to the third and most important part, which is remember that feelings are real. So when you can hear yourself talking about the future and you can hear yourself actually experiencing the future, that is the first sign that you've already started to visualize without actually seeing anything. Now, of course, this is the first of many pods. I will be coming back and doing more of these pods because I myself have been on this journey of trying to understand like why is it that only some people are able to visualize. For me, I think over the last 17, 18 years, that was one of the most um, painful processes of personal development, and I was unable to actually uh, understand why is it that only some people can see and what about the others, right? And if you are like me, someone who for a very long time you thought you were just kind of creating and you were making stuff up, I've got news for you, and of course I'll come back and create more pods on this because I do believe that we together are on a mission to experience not only those new visions but those audio visions of the future, and that when you start to experience those audio visions and you feel those audio visions, in turn you'll be able to help many, many more people. So as always, I truly appreciate you. Thank you for showing up. For those of you who show up live, thank you for showing up live. For those of you who are part of our community, iHypnosys Life, thank you for being part of it. Thank you for attending our sessions because I would say about 95% of what we do in the community are live sessions. So thank you for making the time and showing up. And having said all of that, of course, as always, remember to live your purpose. God bless, and of course, I will be back with another one tomorrow. Take care.